What you are about to hear is not a countdown list. I am going to tell you 3 stories that actually happened. 3 stories where witchcraft stopped being a myth and became something far darker. 3 real cases. 3 different forms of witchcraft that will give you a great deal to think about, especially tonight before you go to sleep, because these are stories about real witches from the real world. In the small village of Tetgama in the Purnia district of Bihar, India, the drought of 2025 had brought something worse than hunger. 2 children fell sick with unexplained fevers that no doctor in the district could bring down. The whispers began at the communal well. The Oron family, known for preparing herbal remedies and prayers, had, according to rumor, looked at the children with eyes that did not belong to this world. The night of July 12, 2025, arrived. More than 250 neighbors gathered in front of the mud brick home of Rania Devi, the village's notorious local witch, and her family. Armed with sticks, machetes, and canisters of petrol, the mob broke in without warning. They dragged the family out by force. The elderly matriarch, Kanto Devi, 70 years old, her son Babulal, his wife Rania, and 2 young members of the household, all of them accused of being responsible for the children's illness. The punishment showed no mercy. The old woman was the first to stop moving. Babulal tried to shield his wife and received a machete blow that split open his skull. When the bodies no longer moved, the neighbors doused them in petrol. The fire rose high into the Bihar night as the crowd chanted together in one voice, "Witch, witch, witch." The charred remains were stuffed into sacks, loaded onto a tractor, and thrown into a nearby pond so the fish could finish what the mob had started. When police arrived, they managed to arrest only 3 men. The rest of the crowd walked home as if nothing had happened. But the most chilling part of this story is what happened to the 2 feverish children whose illness had ignited all of this violence. Already admitted to hospital after the killings, both children slipped into a state resembling a coma. Witnesses reported that they whispered phrases without being able to move. Over and over again, they repeated a 3-word mantra, the same word the mob had chanted while murdering the Orion family, the word witch. Until finally, one after the other, they fell silent. Their breathing slowed, and then stopped. 5 lives extinguished in a single night because a village decided that sickness could only come from witchcraft. And then 2 more lives that followed. What could have been nothing more than village gossip filled the headlines of the Indian press for months. 7 human beings gone. And a crowd that slept soundly that same night. Sometime in the year 2010, Yuri Mendez, a neighborhood healer in Cancun, had a dream that she says changed her destiny and the destiny of many others forever. Mendez claims that Santa Muerte appeared to her dressed entirely in white. And in that dream, she says, the figure spoke to her in a calm and steady voice. "Build my house. I will give you the 3 virtues, the white for healing, the red for love and passion, and the black for justice and protection." Yuri obeyed to the letter. With her own hands and the donations of her first devoted followers, she built on a modest plot of land in Cancun the largest sanctuary dedicated to the white girl in the entire region. Altars covered in red roses, black candles, cigars, bottles of tequila, and offerings of every kind multiplied across the space. Soon, people began arriving. Those with terminal cancer, those crushed by debt, those with unfaithful partners, those with powerful enemies. Yuri performed cleansing baths and rituals according to the color each case required. Some people healed in ways their doctors could not explain. Others swore that their enemies simply vanished or suffered terrible and inexplicable accidents. Then one day, a visitor described in a Facebook post how an old woman appeared at the sanctuary claiming to also be a witch. Standing before everyone, she screamed at Yuri in a strange Portuguese accent. "You serve the white girl, but I serve the dark child." She threw what appeared to be ash onto the ground and walked away. Yuri was visibly shaken, and slowly she began to change. As the years passed and the sanctuary's fame grew, the changes in Yuri became impossible to ignore. She slept with a dagger under her pillow. She obsessively checked that the black candles were perfectly aligned. Her new dreams were no longer filled with light. The white girl no longer smiled. According to those closest to her, the figure was being attacked by a dark force that whispered to Yuri that some of her devotees were not coming to seek help but to steal her energy. That the envy of other witches was becoming something tangible and dangerous. People began to fear her. She sometimes demanded blood offerings to strengthen her beloved Saint Death. Those who knew her well say her eyes are no longer the same. There is something behind them now, something that watches, something that waits, and something that always collects its favors with interest. The favors are still granted, yes, as they always were, but now they always seem to carry a very high price. As for the old woman who confronted her that day, most believe she was a Brazilian witch who died a couple of years ago, known as Mai Shirema, whose deity despised Yuri's devotion to the white girl. And so, before she died, she placed a curse on her. One that, according to those who understand these things, permanently disturbed the spiritual balance of the entire region. Near the end of 2025, a TikTok influencer named Yasi posted a video saying she had bought a spell to make money rain down on her for just $9 from a shop called Crystal Conjun Magic on the Etsy platform. She said her life literally changed within days. The video exploded. Shortly after, another young woman named Veronica, desperate to grow her social media following, bought the same viral success spell that same night. She followed the instructions in precise detail. Pink candle, burned photograph, mantra repeated. The next day, her phone would not stop ringing. An Airbnb offered her a free stay in exchange for content, something that had never happened to her before. She posted the videos. One of them alone reached more than 10 million views in under a week. The owner of Crystal Conjure Magic, a discreet woman who identified herself only as the Etsy witch, watched her small shop go from a few sales a day to thousands. In 3 weeks, she had made over $80,000. Reviews multiplied. People reported impossible promotions at work. Former partners returning with an obsessive desperation. Debts vanishing overnight. But alongside the success came the dark stories. Users wrote in saying the spell had worked too well. A boss would give a promotion, and then the person would be stalked by their new supervisor. An ex would return, but transformed into a dangerous obsessive. Someone close would die suddenly right after a debt was resolved, in quotation marks. Veronica, the influencer behind the second video, tormented by a string of disasters, tried to contact the seller to ask her to stop or reverse the spell. She never received a reply. The shop is still open. Orders are still coming in by the hundreds every day. Those who purchased those spells in late 2025 say their lives changed completely after using them, and not for the better. In one post, the famous Etsy witch claimed that due to complaints from those first customers, she had changed the formulas of her spells, which she says are now based on benign entities. Many people are left wondering what kind of entities the previous spells were based on. There were so many cases of misfortune connected to her products that the story went viral among influencers and became something close to an urban legend within months. And yet, many people are still willing to try, still willing to risk everything for just a little bit of fame on social media. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share your own experiences with witchcraft in the comments below. Thank you so much. This is Dodroso, and I wish you a very good night.